Photography tells people visually who
Yes.
you are, how you're going to treat them. So if you are a very serious person, I've seen photography like this. They're laughing in every photo, and I'm like, they're the most serious person I know. Why are they? But they feel more comfortable laughing in a photo because they're uncomfortable doing the photo, but it's not really truly showing who they are. And the photographer, not Victoria, other photographers, their job is to just snap a photo. And I remember I told Victoria, my last brand photography that I had done last year, she was like, well, do something different. And I'm like, what? I don't know what to do different. Like, what does that mean? And so I just kind of started like looking away or smiling, or like I was talking to someone or laughing, or like there was nothing there to produce that. And that's really hard to do.
This episode is brought to you by me. Yes, by me, Victoria Odekomaya. I'm a brand photographer and strategist based locally here in Indiana. And I love helping women, small business owners, and professionals with side hustles build and elevate their brand. So if you're in the market and looking for someone that would thoroughly help you create a beautiful imagery for your brand and help you connect to your target audience, I'm your girl. So why choose me? Because I offer a beautiful, luxurious celebrity photo shoot experience for all of my clients. The celebrity experience includes professional hair and makeup, wardrobe styling. I serve wine and chocolate covered strawberries, and I'm playing your favorite music because it's important to me that you look and feel great to create the images that we know will truly connect with your audience. So what are you waiting for? If you're looking for photography to help you elevate your brand, call on your girl because I got you. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Own Your Brand Show. I'm your girl, Victoria Odekomaya, and today I am talking with Colleen Biggs. Colleen is a international speaker. She is a best-selling author, and today we're talking about how the intersection of faith in growing your business. We talk about how to plan for the success of your business and how to handle the success afterwards. I share some honest and raw experiences, some of my personal experiences, and we walked through some of that in our conversation. And so today it's a little bit, it's very near and dear to me because I shared some information that I haven't shared with a lot of people. So without much ado, let's get into it. So hi, Colleen, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm feeling great all the way over here in Arizona. It's hot, it's warm, it's summer. Yeah, I feel good. And I love this time of year and I love this time of the week.
Great. What time is it over there again?
It's about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was like, oh my God, like, are you waking like super early to be on, which I appreciate.
Yeah, no.
Regardless. But before we even get into any of this conversation, tell us a little bit about you so that the audience can know.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Victoria. So I retired from corporate America about 5 years ago. As I continued to climb the corporate ladder, like most women, I ran into several pains and hurdles, with not equal pay and other women vying for the same jobs I wanted. And you know how dangerous that can be because then women are constantly competing against each other rather than collaborating because there's such fewer positions higher, as you climb that corporate ladder. And what I found for me was the vision seemed smaller. I was working more hours. I was dedicating more time, less time with my family. And I thought to myself, I was thinking it would be the opposite, that there would be more people doing some of the things that I needed to be doing. And so I really felt like I needed to step out and explore more of my talents. And I just kept getting this burning desire that I wanted to do more with my life. Like I was in a box and I didn't have the freedom of choice or time. And I'm not saying that in a bad way for corporate America. I just wanted to explain it as that was my feeling. And I meet a lot of entrepreneurs that are females, and they share a similar story with me, that they just felt like it was time and that they needed to go do their own thing. And the beautiful part about leaving corporate America, Victoria, the way I did is I took I was in corporate America for 30 years. So I took all that experience with me. And it follows you, right? The knowledge, the skill sets, the experiences, they all follow you. And that's what builds your portfolio and your resume of what you're able to then do to impact others. But being an entrepreneur is a special spirit, for sure, because you're essentially saying yes to a zero paying job that is 100% commission. Most people would never say yes to that in corporate America. We say yes to that as an entrepreneur, but I would never trade it for anything because of what I see as possible, how there's just unlimited opportunities, and also for me, the freedom of time. That is a huge piece. And so that was what I did 5 years ago. I started a community called the L.E.A.P community. I started a radio show, started a magazine. I started doing creating all these platforms for women to be seen and be heard and be visible, because that was the number one rule in launching hundreds of businesses that I had done over the years was you have to tell everybody you're there, right? You got to tell everybody about you. So you have to create a digital footprint very quickly. And I wanted women to be able to collaborate and help each other and give each other opportunities and not fight against each other. So I wanted that community because I craved it for myself. And then I wanted women to be able to be seen more. And I knew I could create that for them.
Wow, that's incredible. You're also a speaker. You speak internationally. You also have you're a best-selling author of multiple books.
Yeah.
Because I know you didn't mention that in your intro. You do so many things. Your mom. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah. Okay, so most people drop their jaw when, I talk about my personal life, and I'll start with that. I am a mom. My husband and I married about 16 years ago. We combined our Brady Bunch when we did, and they were kids then. They were all, younger kids. Now they're late 20s, 30s, but they were young back then. And so we raised our kids. We have 7 of them. We have 12 grandkids now. We have an amazing family. We couldn't even gather in COVID because there was too many of us. But besides running a business, it gives me the pleasure to be able to hang out with the grandkids, my kids, and my husband and I run a business with some of our kids. So that's also a fun thing. I buy multiple businesses now. That kind of becomes a fever once you start becoming an entrepreneur. But I ran a magazine for a long time. And then I put my efforts into a lot of online platforms for women and blogs. And I have written multiple books. It's on my vision board for me to write kind of another book. I'm just waiting for the inspiration to come to me because I've collaborated on a lot of books, but I would love to be able to have some time to sit down and really think about what do I want to leave behind, almost kind of like a legacy. And I know that I've done that in some of the books already, but what would that look like? Do I talk a little bit about my personal life? Do I talk about my struggles from childhood? I'm not alone with the women I meet. So I run a podcast that started as a live radio show back in 2019. That was a lot of fun. And then once the pandemic hit, I wasn't going into the studio anymore. So I changed it from a live radio show to a podcast. We have listeners in 30 some countries. I'm extremely happy to be able to host so many amazing guests on that show. And I don't do a lot of solo episodes. Most of them are guests that are coming on to share some tips in business or in your personal life. It's, For me, every day I wake up, life is a choice, Victoria. And the choice is, am I going to be happy today? Am I going to be sad today? Am I going to be mad today? What am I going to be? And I control my feelings. No matter what happens throughout the day, how I react to something, I control it. So knowing that, I wake up every day and I'll read a book or meditate or do something, working out, that everything that helps my body feel good, my brain set right, so I can have the best day ever. And I do that on purpose because just like my podcast, I believe we design our lives. Everything around you is designed by you, believe it or not. So if someone's like, oh, that's BS, Colleen, I can't believe I'm listening to you say this. The truth is you've created everything around you. So if you don't like it, you do have the power to change it, just like you created it. And that's the big piece of remembering that as an entrepreneur. That really helps fuel you because it's a tough road.
Yes. Oh gosh, you said a lot of things there. But one of the things that resonated with me was when you said we create our environment, as a child of God, taking that example from God, He created the whole world, and I have the authority and the power as a child of God to create, my environment, my situation, and change it if I don't want, if I want something different. But I really love that. One of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with you is your wealth of knowledge, with helping business owners go from, try to thrive. You have a lot of experience. You help a lot of women, in your community and, all of the things that you do. So if we can be raw today, I would love, 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 love to just have that conversation, because I know that a lot of small business owners, me included, we start out with a passion and we're so excited and we finally launched this thing. And then somewhere along the line, right, it's maybe where we are bogged down, or like we begin to see the impossibilities, or like we begin to see the roadblocks and things like that. I can tell you specifically for me, I know part of mine is also having some health challenges and just trying to reprioritize and things like that. But in your experience, working with women and, all the ladies that you work with, what are some of the things that you see, some of these big issues why there's a struggle to continue to pursue their goals?
I think it starts out with, we are extraordinary beings, women are. And our ability to create life, our ability to heal, our ability to keep everything going and keep it together, right? We can do multiple things, women can. And we have this expectation as women, this goes back centuries and centuries from the very beginning of this high expectation of not failing. And so when you have type A driven women, and generally a woman who's becoming an entrepreneur is driven. She's not going to become an entrepreneur if she wants to just be told what to do or to have a job outlined for her every day and show up and get a paycheck. And I'm not saying they're not driven, because those women that are CEOs and CFOs and, are in prominent sales positions, they're very driven. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the mindset of an entrepreneur, knowing that I have to drive every dollar in my business, they generally will pursue a career as an entrepreneur first because of their passion. Let's look at you, Victoria, right? So you have a passion for photography, and that is why you do it. And there's this spark behind that fire for you that really burns loud enough for you to say, I want to invest my time, my energy, my money into doing this because it means that much to me, right? So women start with an impact in mind. It's about making a greater impact. I always say, you give a woman power and that usually, or money, and the first thing she does is share it, create an impact with it, and take more people along with her, right? And so think about that. That is what a woman is thinking about, of impact and change and taking all these people with me. so concerned about nurturing everyone around her that generally she dives into her work so much, and it's about serving all the other people, that along the way she loses herself and gets right back into a situation like we do most of our lives, which is everybody comes first. I'm last. Now I have to serve everybody in my business first. My health is last, just like what happened to you, Victoria. My needs are last. And so now the boundaries become muddied, and the boundaries of saying no to things, the boundaries of, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm not working on Sundays, those boundaries get muddied, and they get desperate, and they're like, oh, I need to pay my bills, so I need the money, so I'm going to sacrifice all of my needs, my values, maybe even my boundaries, my everything, because now as an entrepreneur, money is the most important thing. But if we go back to the Bible and we listen, God will provide wherever he guides. So if we get out of this brain about, oh my gosh, it's all on me, I have to make all the decisions, it's me, it's going to make it or break it, I'm the brainchild in this business. What if you weren't? What if you were guided to start your business because you felt pulled to do it like I did, and you trusted in God to guide you, and he will provide along the way, and you don't have to know how it's going to be provided. You just have to have faith, you have to believe, and you have to take action. Other than that, you just allow. And women are a little scared, I think, to do that sometimes.
You're preaching right now, Colleen. You are preaching. I mean, because everything that you said, I think is so great. And I think, for those of us that are type A, you're really describing me where I'm like, I want to go get it. I want to do all this. And I want, I'm very results oriented. But there are times where we just need to slow down. And I think that's where I'm at right now in my life, and just reevaluate, why am I doing this? And who am I doing this for? Is this really to the glory of God, or have I strayed away from the true purpose and intent of why I started this in the first place, And it's such a conversation that I'm like struggling with myself and just thinking through. And, so like, I know you've dealt with this multiple times. You've had a lot of conversations with women, but like, what are how do you encourage someone to deal with situations like that?
Yeah. So I want to share with your listeners really quickly how you and I met. So I applied, I went looking online for faith-based conferences, and it was the first year that Angie Nuttall, who's the owner of the VIP Center, decided to call this VIP week a faith-based week. She said she felt the call to do it. I felt the call to look for them, and we ran into each other, and they asked me if I would be a speaker and if I could come down and speak at, their event in Indiana in person, which meant I had to fly to Indianapolis, right? So, and then they said, we have a room for you here because we're an Airbnb. I was like, well, that's perfect, so I can stay there. And they paid me to be a speaker. And I just thought, this is crazy. And I had a flight to California that I was going to that week. And when I switched it, it was the exact same price. So I thought, okay, I rang my bell on my wall. Thank you, God, for giving me this gift. That was a gift right there. That was me trusting that I wanted to do more faith-based. That was Angie trusting that she needed to make it a faith-based conference. And so I walk into that week knowing nobody and just allowing the week to happen, right? I wasn't even speaking till Thursday, and I showed up on Monday. And I met amazing women, including you, Victoria, throughout that week, not knowing where those relationships would lead. But I met women like Anne who helped me heal in some things that I needed to heal in. And then God was pushing me all week. And I think you remember, because I spoke about it, he was pushing me to deliver a message. And I was fighting him on that message. And finally, I surrendered, but I was not there for me. I was there for him because I trusted the process. And now I'm on your amazing podcast. I have had connections And I've been helping some of the other ladies there and working with them through some things. They've been on my podcast. I've been on their podcast. We've shared books. We're sharing all types of things that are elevating all of us. So it's a lot of this trust in God that I talk about is uncomfortable because we can't control it. We can't control it. So I'm going to go back to what you said. What are some of those? What is the advice that you're giving women when they're stuck in that? Usually the number one thing that's happening is they've gotten themselves so overwhelmed, they don't even know what they're working towards anymore. When I ask women, what do you want? What are your goals? They literally can't answer me. And I was one of those ladies. Someone asked me one time, Colleen, what do you want? And I was like, just kind of tactical things. I want this. I want that. I want to make, this much money a month. And it was like tactical things. It's like, no, what do you want? Do you want to, do you want to build a business so that you can give more to charity? Do you want to, have more freedom of your time in a day? Do you want to spend more time in your relationships with your friends or your friends? Like, what do you want? Not tactical action pieces. What do you really want? If you waved a magic wand and you could build your ideal life, what would it look like? And most women don't even take the time to think about, and I know everyone right now is, what would that life look like for me? What would that be? I have no idea, right? Victoria's like, right. I don't know what that life would look like yet, right?
Right. Yeah.
So when we don't know what we want, how can we know what to do if we don't know what we want, right? Usually you're caught in this trap by not having the clarity that it takes to know what you're walking toward. Like if you're dating someone and you both talk about loving each other and eventually we would like to get married, you have a vision of your future relationship. Every deposit you're making into that relationship is going towards marriage. And then when you set a date, you have a date now. And now you're working toward that. And now you have to line up all the actions that it takes to get to that wedding on that day and have everything set up and ready to accomplish pulling off that beautiful day of marriage, right? And then maybe you talk about having kids in 5 years, and now you might be saving money or moving to a different state because you want to raise your children in a different state. Everything's about preparation. It's no different in a business, but people don't treat it that way. It's really simple when you think about it. Set a goal, create the action plans, achieve the goal. Set another goal, create the action plans, achieve the goal. So when you add strategy into what you're doing, so if you look at your business and you're like, these are the things that are going really, really well. These are the things that are not going really, really well. Then you focus on, okay, where do you want to get to? What is the end game? Then we strategize to create the business that fits where you're going, what your vision is. I don't understand why anyone would ever get in a car and just drive without Google Maps. Like, how would you know how to get there? Why would you get in a boat and drive it? I mean, a captain says, if the boat is even 1 degree off course, it will miss the destination by miles for 1%. So when we are 1% off course, and a lot of that has to do with our faith, a lot of that has to do with maybe listening to other people and not trusting our own intuition, and someone else thinks they have the shiny way for you to do something and they're trying to convince you that their way is the best and you got to hire me for $20,000 to help you create that course. And you're just feeling like, nah, this doesn't feel right to me. But you're like, but if that's what I have to do, I'll do it. And I guarantee it won't work. I guarantee it won't. We have to, God gave us a spirit to guide us. And if we're not trusting that, then you're really just listening to everything else other than how you're supposed to be guided. He's not going to throw you off course ever, right?
Right. Yes. Oh my God, that is so good. Especially when you were talking again about how
and this happens a lot lately, where you open up Facebook or Instagram, it's like, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me. And then, when you don't have a goal or when you don't have a destination, everything seems good. Like, yeah, I need that, I need that, I need that. And you feel pressured, But oh my, so I have to ask you this question.
I'm glad you said that.
So let's talk a little bit about, so you figure out again, I'm going to be very raw here because I feel like I need to be open here. So my first year in business, I wanted to do this gala. I had it all planned. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I sought the face of God. I felt like He was leading me to do it. It was successful. I'm thankful. And this year is a different conversation, and I'm still working through that, like we we're talking a little bit earlier ago. But nobody, I feel like, prepared me, or I didn't think about the impact of success. Colleen.
Yeah.
The gala was very successful, but I was not mentally prepared for the success. So the way I was thinking about myself or seeing myself or the things that I did, it was just like, oh yeah, we got it done. Like, but people on the outside, it felt like they saw me as a different person. Like, oh, Victoria and all of this. And I remember multiple days after the event, I would go to some networking events and people would be like, oh, wow, the magazine and the gala, we had about 200 people. And I wanted to hide, Colleen. I wanted to hide because at first I was like, who are you talking about? Like me? Because I just did not see myself as that, and I think that and I don't know if this is unique to me, but I wasn't prepared for that success. And because of that, I felt like there was a little bit of a period where I felt like, I don't know if the press is working. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I have not met one person that was extremely successful that didn't feel like, when's the rug going to get pulled out under me? I'm an imposter. And, so many authors feel this way. You have to remember, anybody today that we think is famous is a person just like you, Victoria. They were born into a family. They were raised and their parents went grocery shopping and they went to the car wash. And I'm saying they're normal. So they all experience that, especially if we notice those that go from zero to hero overnight. They have the biggest and the hardest time struggling with that because they don't see themselves as that person that everybody else looks at. I mean, Taylor Swift was just a girl born into a family, loved a guitar, and then now she sells out, stadiums of 30,000 people or 300,000 people every single night, So she had to work herself up to understanding that her talents and what she possesses impacts other people. And it's what she loves to do, right? And I believe there's a sense of humility. I would say to my clients will tell me that, or other people will say, oh, well, we put you up on a pedestal. I'm like, don't, because I'll fall, right? Because we all see ourselves that way. We don't see ourselves as someone special. But here's what I think you forget. I just told my client this yesterday. Our common sense is not somebody else's commonplace. It is easy for you, right? When you look at photography or when you look at putting a gala together, you can see it come together and you knew exactly how you wanted to illustrate it and start this magazine and you had it all kind of planned out. Other women's brains don't work that way. And so to see you pull that off, they're like, wow, she's incredible. And you would have said the same thing walking into any other event for someone that's pulled off an event. You're just like, wow, she's incredible. And you would see her or him in the same light that other people saw you. So I can't exactly explain how to prepare yourself for that. But I believe that if we are true to ourselves and if we are authentic and raw in everything that we do, and we show up with integrity and good character, and we treat people and do unto others as we would have them do unto you, if you become famous in your area or to other people, you're just a regular person. So they see you that way, and that's fine. But, you know, it's kind of like Justin Timberlake. I think his was one of the cutest things I ever saw. And it was on social media where he said, I just flew back from a tour of a concert, flew back, jumped into bed, and this is what rolls over to me. And it's his like 2-year-old son with a saggy, wet diaper leaning up against him. And he's like, and now I'm back to being just a dad.
Right.
So Justin Timberlake to all of us, extremely talented because that's what we see. But behind the scenes, he's just a dad to his 2-year-old that has a saggy diaper that he has to go change in the middle of the night.
Right.
That makes sense. So
It does.
I don't think you have to work to uphold that title because you earned it, right? You did something that created you to be what I would call a servant leader. So you knew you had this will of what you wanted to do and you took action on it, right? So when we create that, we influence other people and we start to serve. And with service comes a lot of sacrifice. Anybody famous that we know, look at all the sacrifice you went to put that gala on, right? So with any service comes great sacrifice, but then you influence people around you because they admire you. And that's a good thing because they automatically see you as a leader, not because someone gave you that title or put you in that position, but you earned it. I mean, Dr. Martin Luther King earned it. Mother Teresa earned it. Gandhi earned it. Jesus earned it. Like, I'm thinking of all these people that earned the right to be a leader based on how they served other people. And they automatically had millions of people watching them for their good service acts. It doesn't change who they are to the core, and they don't have to act different. Like, that's where I think people screw up is they're like, oh, now I'm this, prominent figure. Yeah. Now I have to change everything about me and how I act. And then people start treating, that person starts treating people horribly or feeling entitled or no, that is not what earned you that position. You continue to be who you are in that position because that's what got you there in the first place.
Right. Be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really good because the other thing that I was thinking as you were saying that is like, that could really be anyone because one of the conversations I'm beginning to have with people is like, we need to be prepared for that, to still remain who you truly are and don't get carried away with whatever comes with that or like even the pressures too, because that's a reality, right? The pressure of wanting to one up, yourself or, do more. And that's when, you start feeling sick in your body or the stress of all the overwhelm and all of that, I think happens. I don't know what you have to say about that.
You know what? And this is very extreme, but because it's out right now on Netflix, I think the Whitney Houston story is one of the best stories that share exactly what happens when she talked a lot about trying to be this famous person for everybody, taking care of everybody, like her family all worked in her business. She supported everybody. And she said, I could never get a vacation. So her drugs were her vacation for 2 hours. And so she would injure herself to kind of get away. It was really weird. But that's what took her out at 48 years old. And she was very, very young. She still is one of the most successful female singers in history. No one's broken all of her records. And she will go on to be a legend. And now we just look at it as what a sad story that she had to turn to drugs, right? For that type of vacation. And I think to myself, why didn't she just take a vacation? She thought, oh no, I have to be this for everyone and thing and do this and do that, and I can't ever have time away from myself. To me, one of my favorite things is any colleagues that I know that are extremely successful, they always take time with their family. They always take vacations. They always spend that downtime, what I call sharpening the saw, right? The 7 habits of highly effective people. You have to sharpen the saw. You can't cut down an entire forest on a dull blade, but yet women will pour from an empty cup, and we will pour from an empty cup. I don't know how we do it. I think we literally are, can create pouring from an empty cup, but our cup is dry and cracked, and we're still pouring into others,
Oh, wow. This is an amazing conversation because I think we've gone full circle now. We started with making sure that we don't pour from an empty cup and all that. But I really, really appreciate this conversation. And I really so yesterday we were just talking about, and you've helped me even between our conversation yesterday and today. And I'm so thankful. One of the things that you helped me with is my email sequence, and something as small, not small to me, but I appreciate you. So I hope you understand what I mean. Like as small as that goes a long way, because yesterday I was overwhelmed. I was having a lot of thoughts in my mind, and you offering to help me with that was just like a huge load lifted up off my shoulders, So I really, really thank you. That I think that it speaks to the community of women you're trying to raise, so you're trying to build. When you started with usually we are competing with each other, but like just that collaborativeness, and that's one of the things that I love too. I'm always looking for ways for women to shine, how we can be healthy, how we can, really impact people with the talents that God has, deposited on the inside of us. That's my passion. So I kind of want to go into some of the work that you do, because I know you have a 12-week program coming up right now. I don't know if you want to talk about that or something else, but yeah, just tell us a little bit about how people can, work with you and just, give us some information about that.
Yeah, I'm not a content writer. I don't write email sequences, but it really came down to this for you, Victoria. You said I was overwhelmed, and this is what happens for every female in business that I work with. And I really specialize working with that solopreneur female like you who has some employees that are 1099s working with you on a team. And you're at the point now where you're like overwhelmed. Maybe you've, again, put too much of yourself into the business and you don't know how to pull that back out. There's not enough clarity for you to know what the goal is at the end of the year. Is it a financial goal? Is it a client goal? Is it a goal to move into a studio? Like what are the goals, right? So when one little thing, when all these are mounding up and you're like just trying to keep your head above water, pay the bills, and then you add on one tiny little drop of, I know I still haven't created my email sequences. You're just like, that's it. I'm done.
Yes.
I can't do this, right? Now you're bawling or you're crying or you're just like, this is too much. This business is too much. It becomes too much when there's just not a plan. And that's what it always comes down to. So I specialize with those women that are saying, I want to make money in this business. I don't want it to be a hobby. I want to make money in this business. I know I can do it. Maybe I've done it in the past. I've been doing this for a little while. I'm overwhelmed. I really don't have the clarity. I want to know, how do I make more money without working more?
Ooh.
That's what they want to know. How do I make more money? Because they think I have to work more to make more money. And that's absolutely not true. I work less and make more money. So how do you do that, right? Women don't know how to do that. So every business, you're the expert. Victoria, I'm not a photographer. You're the expert in photography. I teach you how to build design your life and your business within that so that you're able to not work harder, but work smarter. And nurturing sequences is one of those things, right? Like you can't manually send out emails to everyone to nurture everyone you meet. But if you could get them on a nurturing sequence and they could get to know you a little bit better and explore a little bit about you when you're sitting with your 5-year-old at night doing homework, then they're looking at your website because you sent them an email and it triggered them to think like, oh, I want to learn more about her, or they just started following you on Instagram, right? So I run a 12-week program every quarter because I have my community, and that community is just like for every woman that owns a business, right? You're going to meet other women, you're going to collaborate. I'm going to give you a lot of visibility opportunities. So that's really like an entry level for someone who just has a business. Now, if you're serious about hitting your goals, the 12-week plan is one of my favorite books that I ever read and put together. And I did not recreate the wheel on this. I took the 12-week plan, which is getting more done in 12 weeks than you can in a year, which has been a proven model that works with thousands and thousands of business owners and anyone in corporate America for setting goals. For businesses strategically to set goals, they have to be measured. And it's not SMART goals. It's not that. That's not what I'm talking about with measuring. I'm talking about measuring your actions to see if they're producing the results. And most people don't do that. You know, they just do the actions and set the plan. And then if they don't reach it, they have no idea what happened. But this plan is a little different because we only meet once a week for an hour. That's all we do. And that's the accountability meeting. And you take all your actions that you said you were going to do that week and we measure them. They're very easily measured. And then we look at the lag results, which are the results on the back end, to see if there's been any shifts or changes. And then throughout that 12 weeks, you modify your actions to produce the results that you're looking for. So totally different way of approaching goals, but easy. It's still easy, right? So I don't have anyone come in and set 3 or 4 goals. I say you're going to set 1 to 2 goals. I've had someone set a weight loss goal at the same time they set a financial goal. Those 2 things can easily be done together, right? I've had someone set a sales goal at the same time that they set bringing on their first contractor in their business. That's a great goal because there's a lot of steps that have to happen for you to bring on that first person to work with you 30 hours a week or something, right? So we've had great success in this program, and I run it so that if women are not ready to hire a business coach and dedicate 6 months or a year to working with someone to invest in dedicating that energy and that time to build their business, this is at least going to jumpstart them, right? Going to kind of jumpstart them to where once they feel that momentum going and they feel that success, my hope is that they'll do it the next quarter and the next quarter. And then eventually they will feel like they're ready to invest in having a business coach by their side. In my life, can't imagine. I think of any amazing athlete out there. I think of anybody who has, been a mogul in business, has always had a mentor, always had a coach, always had consultants, always had people around them, all the way back from the beginning of time when, women talk about it being a male-dominated industry a lot. If it will be male-dominated forever, unless we band together to bring more women into more positions in business, right? So we have to work together. And I think we are the most powerful when we do work together, because everything else we create when we work together that doesn't have to do with business, we create amazing opportunities. I mean, women run schools and PTAs and, everything out there. Like, this wouldn't happen. And the kids wouldn't even get fed if it wasn't for the moms. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be honest. So we have the power to do that. So if we possess that power, apply it to your business and invest in yourself. Invest in how you need to be guided to get where you want to go if you truly want to get there. No one, including myself, wants to work with a client that doesn't want to be there. You never want to work with someone that wants you to solve all their problems. I'm not a silver bullet. I'm not a shiny thing that you hire that's going to fix all your problems. But what I will do is give you the clarity of what you're missing in your business, the roadmap of what you need to do to get there, and then be there to guide you and strategize with you along the way, because it's never a perfect path for you to get there. But The goal is for you to reach what it is that you desire, what that outcome is, right? And then Michael Jordan is great because he had blind spots and he was a great basketball player. And his coach, no one hardly even remembers his name. But without him, he wouldn't have been as great as he was because we all have blind spots that we can't see. And so other people can see those blind spots for you. I have blind spots. It's why I have coaches, in a lot of areas of my life, because I have those blind spots and I need that to be exposed so I can be the best version of myself, so I can produce the best results for the people that I serve.
I love that. And as a brand photographer, I'll tell you that my clients that have clear goals and actionable steps are the best clients for me, because then when we're creating those brand photos, we actually know why we're creating them. And we know exactly what those brand photos are going to do, because you're trying to, say something to the public, right? You're trying to show your personality and things like that. But if you don't get clarity or you don't have clarity on all of that, sometimes it's just taking pictures and they may or may not meet the goals or the reasons why you need those photos. So I love, 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 love that. And I think that everybody should, if you're in business, you really should be having, this conversation. Take Colleen's class and then come to me for the photography.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Photography tells people visually who you are, how you're going to treat them. So if you are a very serious person, I've seen photography like this. They're laughing in every photo and I'm like, they're the most serious person I know. Why are they? But they feel more comfortable laughing in a photo because they're uncomfortable doing the photo, but it's not really truly showing who they are. And the photographer, not Victoria, other photographers, their job is to just snap a photo. And I remember I told Victoria my last brand photography that I had done last year, she was like, well, do something different. And I'm like, what? I don't know what to do different. Like, what does that mean? And so I just kind of started like looking away or smiling or like I was talking to someone or laughing or there was nothing there to produce that. And that's really hard to do because, again, I needed to know the outcome of all the photos I was taking and what I was going to use them for so that they could be better set up. And that whole boutique piece of what you do is missing from every photographer that I've ever worked with, right? Their eye is the photography. They don't guide you. That's their job, isn't to guide you, or they don't know how to, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. That's the reason why I enjoy what I do. It's not just the photography, but obviously that's a big piece of it, but it's just having that plan. I spend an hour talking to my clients about, okay, what are we trying to recreate? Obviously, yours is a 12-week program and you have, multiple other programs, but like, it's important for me to have that conversation up front. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
What is your goal? So that when we get into the photography, we actually have something measurable, so.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been a really great conversation. Tell us, what can people find you?
Yeah, so probably the easiest way is to go to my website and book a call with me or jump on my newsletter. I would love someone to find me on LinkedIn and DM me and say, hey, I saw you on the podcast or I saw you talking to Victoria.
Yes.
I love to meet people directly. I really believe God's message for us right now in this world is that people are starving for connection and they're just drowning in content, right? So how could we not pump out more content? How could we connect deeper with the people that we're meeting and really take the time to sit and listen to them and get to know them and understand them? And I'll tell you, that's probably my biggest secret weapon, Victoria, is I show a true interest in people and I care about them and they're shocked by that.
I agree because, when we met, I know you shared that experience before and just you're so down to earth, you're so approachable. I didn't feel like, because I was like, wait a minute, she flew all the way from Arizona. And then when I started seeing the things that you've accomplished and I was like, oh my goodness, and we've kept in contact, since then. So I'm so thankful and grateful for our friendship, our relationship. And yes, if you're watching, please tell Colleen you found her on this podcast. That would mean a lot to me. And I will put all your information in the comments, in the show notes, so that you can get access to our website and even, our LinkedIn and things like that. Colleen, any last words for us?
Yeah, I would say if you're not going to take action today, when are you going to, right? I believe how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? And so I see so many owners say, oh yeah, well, I'll do that someday, or yeah, I'll do that another day, or they don't invest in anything to better themselves, but yet they want other people to invest money in them. And I say, don't ever expect anybody to invest money in you and pay you for a service if you're not willing to invest money in your growth or your knowledge or your learning, right? So we all need to do that. And I have a quote that I use a lot, that if learning is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. So always be humble and kind. Yes. Always be humble and kind to people.
Wow, that's really good. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, truly enjoy our conversation.
It was fun.